Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. This is your special World Cup edition. You've been getting used to them. I'm Gianni, the FPL guy, and I'm joined by a very good friend of me, Fantasy Ed. Ed, how are you, my friend? And welcome to the channel.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I think people want to hear from you, Gianni. You've been missing for a couple of weeks. How was Qatar? People could listen to me all day. They all want to hear that. We can talk about that later. How was Qatar?
Qatar was great. And guys in the chat, welcome aboard. Hopefully a few of you are coming in now. Notice that perhaps a few of you aren't in early as you usually are. We've been doing different time slots, haven't we? So perhaps you're not all aware. So we're going to be busy on Twitter promoting that we're live. Ed's tweeting as we speak. So is our producer, Mus. Tiffany is in with us as well. Hello, Tiffany. Glad you're with us. And a few are jumping on. Thanks for all you guys watching. Feel free to be active in the chat. I'm going to be telling some stories about Qatar. I've just come back. I saw 4, maybe 5 live games. It was awesome. I'll tell you some of my favorites and some other stuff I got up to in Qatar and some very cool people I met. We'll be talking about our team reveals. We'll be showing the teams from the week just gone. Ed had an absolute stinker.
But there's a story behind that will be coming up. So you just wait.
And of course, we'll be talking about the best players and the ones to watch ahead of the quarterfinals. Look, guys, we'll be previewing the quarterfinals as well, right? This isn't just a fantasy chat. This is going to be a football chat around who we think is going to have the edge come match day 5. The fixtures, of course, on Friday and on Saturday. Absolutely pumped for them. FPL Polish Zombie, hello to you in the chat. Where's our regulars? Where's CH gone? Where's all of them gone? Is it because I've been away for a few weeks, guys? Or is it because we're doing a different time on a different day to what we usually do? Or is it simply because Ed's here?
I think it's definitely not the last one. I think it's probably because it's a different time. And also, let's be honest, the World Cup fantasy game we're all excited about, but it's been a bit tricky to play.
It's not been very good, is it?
No. I feel like people have got to the point where we're now watching the game. We're looking at our fantasy teams, we're making transfers or substitutions, and we're not 100% confident they're even going to go through. And when you lose that confidence in a game, I mean, we're going to get onto my team, and I'll talk about the problems that happened there. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Like, I think we're playing all very casually now, which is great, which is good fun. So we're going just we're going with all the shouts that you kind of caveat with, oh, what the hell, why not? So it's fun. I like playing completely risk-free. Tiffany says we love you, Ed.
I know, Tiffany. I saw that. That's Tiffany, thanks so much. That's lovely. Keep them comments coming, everyone. If you feel free to email me that every now and again, just through the week. That'd be wonderful.
But let's talk a little bit about Qatar. What has been your impression, Ed, from a spectator point of view about the success of a Winter World Cup? We're not going to go into all the boring bits about Qatar or the bits discussed pre-event, but let's look at positives. What have you enjoyed so far?
Well, there was a lot of chat, wasn't there, initially about forget all the side stuff, the human rights stuff and all that. We're not going to talk about that, but there was a lot of nil-nils, wasn't there? There was a lot of nil-nils that everyone felt at the start, and everyone was like, there was only something like 2 nil-nils in the whole of the last World Cup or something. And then there was like 7 in the first 2 games. So there was that. But what that led to in the third round of games of the group stage was all these teams, and I'm going to put in inverted commas here, smaller nations who you wouldn't have expected maybe to go through. I'll rephrase that again. Who the bookies wouldn't have made favourites to go through, suddenly going through. And teams like Germany going out. Teams like now Spain going out. Teams like Morocco showing us that they're serious football nation. We kind of knew it if you knew your football, but like defensively so solid. So I think I've loved the fact that there's been some big teams that have gone out. There's been some smaller nations that have got through, and it's just unpredictable. Unpredictable. That's what I've loved.
I love the fact there's an African team in the quarters. I think they're really strong. Morocco. But yeah, things I've loved. I mean, look, let me give you a few examples from my first-hand experience of being in Qatar.
Yes, this is what we want to hear. Go.
Okay, first I'm going to start with the idea of there being several stadiums, if not all the stadiums, in one city. Now, I know this isn't sustainable for many cities and this can't happen.
Can I cut in and ask you some questions every now and again for people who don't know? Because I'll be probably know similar amounts to everyone in the chat. So what all the stadiums are really, really close together, right?
They're all in one city, mate. One is a little bit out of the city, but 7 of the 8 are in Doha, and then one is about a half an hour drive outside of the city.
I did think this because I saw Gianni Infantino in one of the games, and then the game finished, and then the next game started like an hour later, and it cut to him again.
Yeah.
I was like,
you can absolutely do it. And they built a metro, they built an underground system to link all the stadiums, so you can get from one to the other always within an hour. Obviously,
wow.
if you've got to leave a little bit early to get ahead of the fans to be able to do that. But yeah, it was.
So how many stadiums did you get to go to, Jenny?
Well, annoyingly, from the 5 games I went to, I went to one stadium twice. So I think 4. I think I've been to 4 of the stadiums. The coolest stadium I've been to, though, was 974. I saw Brazil, Switzerland there. It's the shipping container one. Have you seen that?
I was going to say, I've heard it's something like the next World Cup is buying it or something, and then they're going to ship it over and put it back up in, is it Canada and North America, and they've got it next?
Mexico, USA, yeah. And a load of the stadiums were designed to be able to be collapsed and put somewhere.
That's
so I think a couple are being taken to Africa, one at the next World Cup. Pretty cool. In the chat, Mark says Morocco should have won the AFCON. Absolutely right. They should have. Not sure how they blew it either. I'll tell you one reason they did blow it, though, Mark. They didn't have Ziyech, who's been fantastic. I think Bouffal's been amazing. I think Amrabat in the middle, so good. Roman Saiss at the back, and the West Ham new centre-back Agurd, I think he's been amazing. Like, strength in depth there. That Morocco team is serious.
Yeah, no, they're particularly at the back. I mean, they've got some crazy record of clean sheets. What is it? It's something mad. I'm going to look. But, I mean, when you actually look at their defence, it's like PSG, Bayern Munich. Like, it's not surprising. You go, oh, yeah, all right, okay. They're top players. It's probably an inbuilt bias, I think, actually. It shows our biases, doesn't it? It's like an African nation. Of course, there's loads of been top African nation footballers, incredible footballers. But in my head, I'm like, Morocco, because someone doesn't, apart from Ziyech, doesn't immediately jump to my mind as being playing for them, I just kind of write it off until you look at them and go, flipping it, they've got some players there, haven't they? Hakimi and, all the others. You go, yeah, why is it surprising that they've kept these clean sheets? It's not. And since their new manager came in, I think it was maybe 10 games ago or something. Correct me, please. This won't be exact, but their new manager hasn't been in for that long, and they've kept 6 clean sheets or something. It's been amazing.
Amrabat's been, and Mark says, player of the tournament so far. I mean, arguably, yes, Mark. Definitely in team of the tournament, isn't he? He plays his football in Italy, Fiorentina, and there's quite a few in that Moroccan team that play in Serie A. But look, let's go back towards experiences I can take from Qatar. Ed, you asked me about stadiums, and one city would be amazing. I don't think many countries could do that, but cities like London and Paris and Tokyo, awesome. Like, just think of the Olympics model, right? I remember the 2012 Olympics, living in London. The buzz around the city was so cool because everything was happening. It was the Olympics center, right? It was the sporting center of the world. And with World Cups, because they're dotted around, some of the cities really take them. But other World Cup venue cities you go to and you're like, okay, it's not completely taken over the city. There's just this one stadium ages away and they've got 3 group games and nothing else. Who cares about going to Belo Horizonte or whatever? So I love the idea of that buzz. And one thing I got, Punter, yes, that's right, my friend.
Hang on, Jenny. Punter, we don't actually know whether that's a complaint or a positive.
No, Punter's my boy.
He might be trying to complaints at Chasing Greenhouse. Gianni is back, so who
knows? Gianni's back. Switch off. So yeah, the buzz around Doha was amazing, mate. From like you just walk into a hotel lobby. Firstly, there's not many hotels in Doha, right? So the 32 best hotels were housing the 32 teams, right? So imagine if you're staying in one of the 32 best hotels, you're sharing a hotel with a team.
It's about the size of Manchester, isn't it? Something like that. Well, I know when they won the World Cup, I remember on that FIFA
populations were similar.
It was like, a country that is the size of Manchester just won the World Cup.
Yeah, like I think there's only 300,000 Qataris in Qatar. There's about 2 million people, I think. But from the 300,000, like you go 30,000 go to a game. That's 10% of the country in that stadium watching the game. But yeah, so South Korea in my hotel. That was awesome. Saw Sonny a few times, didn't I? Saw Sonny.
Did he say hello? Did he say, oh my goodness, it's Gianni Buttici from Chasing Green Arrows?
No. He wasn't familiar with this YouTube channel, unfortunately. I also saw Kim, who's the centre-back at Napoli. And when I saw him, I was wearing my Napoli shorts. That was quite cool.
That's cool.
And when I saw him, I was having lunch with Maradona's ex-wife or partner. They weren't actually married. So Maradona's partner before he died. So there I was sat with Maradona's partner, who obviously had big interest in Napoli.
Who wasn't
wearing my
old,
Napoli
right?
shorts.
She wasn't old, right?
No, she's younger than me. Yeah. Younger than I am. I'm 35.
Yeah, but you're
in a few-
56. So
I'm 35 in a couple of weeks. And yeah, she was awesome and is doing great work in Argentina and with her foundation in Maradona's name. But obviously strong links with Napoli, right? And there I was sat looking at Kim at the bar, Kim was ordering a coffee. And I'm like, does Kim know, firstly, that I'm wearing Napoli shorts? Because that's quite funny. Secondly, that I know who he is, because most in the lobby are just looking for Son all the time, right? And Hwang from Wolves, Premier League players. Yeah. And then finally, does he know that he is 5 meters away from Maradona's ex-partner? Because that's a pretty cool story for any Napoli player, right?
I thought you were about to say, does he know he's 5 meters away from me?
So yeah, that was awesome. So South Korea in my hotel, the lads were awesome, proper polite. And what I loved about seeing in that hotel was, usually you hear stories from the England camp, wives and girlfriends are only allowed in on Wednesday afternoons for an hour, and it's proper strict, like letting families into that player environment.
Yeah.
Well, from what I saw with the South Korean team, whilst I don't think they were staying there, I saw wives, girlfriends, and families especially all the time around the players in the communal areas of the hotel, in the sort of off the lobby, in the coffee shop and stuff. And I just thought, yeah, you can trust this team. They're not reckless. They're not going to go out partying. They're not going to take the mick. They're still going to, get good sleep and not be up all night. And I just wonder if that restriction we hear about wives and girlfriends and families is with England, but actually isn't the case for a lot of international teams. It certainly wasn't for South Korea, who was just a team full of respectful gentlemen who you can trust to not be up all night partying.
Yeah. You sound like you had a good time.
I mean, listen to me. I'm buzzing still from it.
You are buzzing. I just want to go back to what we said about Morocco, because I've just looked at Morocco's recent results. Listen to this. This is since the 13th of June. 2-0 against Liberia, so clean sheet. 2-0 against Chile. 0-0 against Paraguay. 3-0 against Georgia. 0-0 against Croatia. 2-0 against Belgium.
Wow.
2-1 against Canada, so they conceded, but then 0-0 against Spain. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the last 8 games, they've kept 7 clean sheets.
Oh, I'm glad I've gone quadruple Portugal for this one in my fantasy team. We'll speak more about that later.
I think Morocco will win. I honestly think Morocco are going to go through against Portugal.
Portugal looks so good. Look, we'll talk more about the Portugal assets in a little bit.
Morocco looks so good. Sorry.
I have to wrap up on my experience, right? Because otherwise I'm going to be dipping into it.
More about you.
What more would you like to know, Ed?
I want to know who you saw. You've told us that.
No,
I want to know the stadiums you went to. You told us that.
I haven't seen who I saw.
Was there? I suppose the question is the air conditioning as good as everyone says it is?
All the stadiums bar one have it, and you're definitely not hot. So yeah, the air conditioning is amazing. At pitch level, it's considerably cooler than it is outside of that.
So how hot is it during the day? I mean, it's December there, obviously, but how hot is it?
32, 33. It's fine.
And that's quite cold there, is it? What do you mean it's fine? 32, 33. I'd be roasting.
Yeah, but I was there 2 months ago, mate, and it was 40 in the day. Now that was tough. But what I'd say is
you claim to have Italian blood and sort of you can cope with it.
It's in the blood, mate. It's in the blood. Gianni says, Punter says, Gianni, the best game you saw live. So the games I saw live
Good question.
I saw Wales, Iran. And that was awesome. I sat with the Iran fans. And if you remember that game, that was the game Hennessy got sent off, but Iran scored a really late goal in like the 92nd minute. And then again in the 95th minute. So being sat with the Iran fans was pretty cool for that.
Can I just share my story on that, Gianni? Sorry, just because I'm here too. I work in Wales. And I was watching at work with all these Welsh people. And they scored the second. I was with a group of people who were all really angry. And I said, isn't it weird, isn't it? England beat these lot 6-2. And then I walked off. And there was a few very angry people. But it was good fun.
Yeah, I forget you live in Wales.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask your experience of all the games, because you're right. There are 2 of us here. Look, I had the opportunity after to go to Brazil, Switzerland. And my friend was like, I've got Brazil tickets. She knows the physio. She was at training all the time.
Right.
And she was like, but they're £165 a ticket. I was like, I don't care. That's fine. Like, it's expensive. I'm at a World Cup. I'm going to pay 165. I actually paid 165 to see Iran versus Wales as well.
Wow.
So yeah, it was expensive. But
does Cam know this?
Well, we had a sponsor that paid for our accommodation and flight, so it was a cheap trip other than the tickets for me. But good. Brazil in a World Cup, stuff dreams are made of, isn't it?
Like, I
remember Brazil in a World Cup.
Yeah. That's proper stuff. I remember thinking, I've got to watch Brazil one day. And I saw England play Brazil at Wembley in a friendly. It was when Dom Solanke made his debut.
Wow.
Right. And it was 0-0. And I left. I was just like, that was a waste of so much money. The hotel, the trip to London, the ticket, and everything else, flipping rubbish. Can I just say, Ali Jahangirov? Sorry if the pronunciation is wrong. Hi guys, nice haircut, Gianni. Yeah, it is. Do you like my haircut? Because I am here too, guys. And I got my haircut recently.
Yeah,
now I know I didn't have long hair like him. Say again.
This is kind of my YouTube show.
Yeah, I know, but I just
most of our viewers know me.
I would say though, Gianni, your hair does look better cut short.
I mean, I've lost 5 years, haven't I? I look 5 years younger.
So now you look 48.
Yeah, I don't know why it took me so long. But look, Brazil, that was the game where Casemiro scored late, and they were very good against Switzerland second half.
Good goal, wasn't it? I know it was a deflection, but great
hit. And
even
Vinny
if it wasn't
Jr.
deflected, it would have gone in.
Vinny Jr. scored, and it was offside, but such a good goal. And that's the first time I've obviously seen Vinicius Jr. live. I love him. He's so direct and so much fun.
Those that play Fantasy Champions League, if you do, I'm quite an avid player of that. I love it. We've all picked players like we all had Nkunku in our team before he got injured.
Yeah,
we all had Vinicius Jr. in our team, so he was my captain on the Sky version of this game for yesterday or whatever it was, 2 days ago. And we all had players like Hakimi and Dumfries. So I know that was in the Euros as well, but even in in Champions League. So the great thing about playing, if no one does, I know this isn't about that, but if you play Champions League fantasy, you get to learn all these players before the big tournaments. It's great.
Yeah. Fair point.
Oh, look, Ali said pronunciation on point, Ed. Just like your haircut as well. I like these guys. They're great.
Yeah, Ali's a dude. Yeah. All right, I'm going to round up on the games I went to. The next one's really quick. England-Wales wasn't actually that great. Like, the second half was obviously good for England, but Wales just didn't turn up in either game. It was a bit of a non-event. And what was really cool, though, Ed, I walked in the stadium, right? Yeah. I'm walking in with... like Jules, I was walking in with Jules and a few others, right?
Jules, first name terms. Yeah, we're all meant to know who that means. Yeah.
Jules Breach, friend of the channel, right?
Okay.
Friend of the channel.
Oh, she's been on this. Yes. Okay.
Of course, not that long ago. And then guess who we saw, right? Who's been working for the BBC pitch side?
Kelly Summers.
Friend of the channel.
Friend of me and you. Friend of me and you.
And friend of Ed and I, who presents Fantasy Football Festival, which Ed and I run. Now, of all the people she could see, right, Kelly Summers is on the touchline. Jules and I walk through one of the normal gates. We walk into the stadium. We see Kelly within 20 seconds of being in the stadium, which has 40,000 other people in. Kelly randomly looks up and she's looking in our direction. And I'm waving. We clock eyes, me, Jules and Kelly. Like, Kelly sees me and Jules within literally seconds of us walking the stadium. Wow. I couldn't believe it. What are the chances?
Well done, mate. Did you have a little shirt on saying like, I love you, Kelly Summers, or anything like that? Or
I actually had my Italy shirt on, which I was showing her. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then the final game I went to, which was a highlight for me, Spain-Japan. How good are Japan? I'm gutted they're now out, but that game against Spain, it was the one where the ball crossed the line, but didn't cross the line. Yeah. The late goals, Spain just pouring sideways passes.
It didn't cross the line, but yeah.
Sorry. And I got to hang out with the Japan fans who, guys, they cleaned up all their own litter.
Like, oh, did amazing. They? I've never been told that. I hadn't seen that anywhere, actually. Wow, world exclusive.
It's true.
It's very nice of them, though, isn't it? I do like
They bring their own bags.
Yeah, that's a bit too much. It's like they're there
to bring their own bags
rather
to
than
the game.
It's like they've come just to clean up. It's like, we're not watching the football. We're just going to clean up. We love it.
It's great PR. So,
Can I just say something about Wales, just to finish? Because I live in Wales, so I just want to say on Wales. It's been interesting because I've watched it all with some friends here and stuff like that. Basically, it's 2 years too late for them. Their top players are all gone.
Who?
Wales. Yeah. Bale's legs have gone. Ramsey's legs have gone. Joe Allen have gone. It's just all gone, unfortunately. They need a new crop of generation.
Ben Davies is old, yeah.
Yeah, I did say to all my friends, though, in Wales, I said, don't worry, if you continue at the same trajectory, your last World Cup was in 1958. This one's now. So by about 2070, you'll be able to see another one. So, don't worry.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Although we are going to have 48-team tournament next time round. But did you know from that 48-team tournament, it's only something like an extra 2 European places? So the chances of Wales and Scotland and Ireland getting to World Cups isn't actually that increased. We're just going to see a huge amount more from the other continents. So 32 goes to 48. What's that? 16 more teams. Yet only 2 of them are from Europe. That doesn't feel right.
Well, I think they're thinking of changing it. I saw a thing the other day just saying they're not set on it yet, and they are considering going to another model. I can't remember what it was, but it was different. Can we just say you've read out every comment that's been below except one.
No, I didn't say Bellingham.
Gianni representing Italia at the World Cup because they couldn't represent themselves. That's the only one that you hadn't read.
It's true, Mark. Do you know the last time Italy played? No, since Italy won the World Cup, they've not won a knockout game.
What? Can you? I know we're not talking about Italy, but what has actually gone wrong there?
No, nothing's gone wrong, mate. We just won the Euros.
Nothing's gone wrong. Sorry. A major nation with top quality talent doesn't qualify, but nothing's gone wrong.
It was a slip up. It was a slip up. And it was a few Jorginho missed pens.
That's something that's gone wrong.
Something that went right is we had the world record unbeaten run, which only ended the other day. We're in the Nations League final, by the way, which is this coming next year. And we won the Euros with an elite manager.
You did.
Which is something England don't have.
Yes. All right. I wasn't even talking about England. Okay. All I'm saying is what went wrong. And I found it surprising that nothing went wrong, yet you didn't qualify. Those two things don't seem to match up.
Moving on. I think we should have a look.
Johnny's never going to invite me back, guys.
Let's have a look at some of the results we've seen, right? So we've heard about my experiences of Qatar. And guys, thank you so much for all of those that are watching this on catch up and on demand. I appreciate we often are talking about the chat and stuff, but there'll be thousands that watch this on catch up. So hello to all of you, and drop your comments in the comments section, because the chat won't be active for you at this time. And likewise for those in the chat, keep them coming. Look, round of 16, standout results. Now let's put a fantasy hat on all of these, Ed. Okay. So we'll talk about the winning teams and the best players from those teams. So look, Netherlands, they didn't look comfortable against USA, but they're good going forward. Dumfries, 2 assists and a goal.
It was those moments where because initially USA were dominating for the first 10, 15 minutes. I was watching thinking this is going to be close.
Pulisic missed a big chance, didn't he?
He Pulisic missed a big chance. Great save.
I had him in my team.
Good. He should have. Yeah, I did as well. He should have scored, I think. But it was a good save as well. It's one of those. But then Netherlands had the quality that USA didn't.
So where do we see Netherlands, Argentina, and what are the standout players from that Netherlands team?
Dumfries.
I think Netherlands could beat Argentina.
Yeah, I think it could happen. I don't think Argentina don't look like they haven't clicked yet. I'd suggest they haven't. I don't know. They just don't seem like they're working together completely as a unit, which has been their problem for 20 years, 15 years. They're not quite clicking into gear when they seem to have all the ingredients to click into gear. And that's always been the case. So
I can't believe Dybala's not got any minutes so far. It's like you're playing Papu Gomez, but you're not giving... Apparently it's because Dybala cannot be in that team with Messi. It's a little bit like years gone by where you've gone, oh, Lampard and Gerrard can't play together. Right. And the manager just says, Dybala's in the squad just in case Messi gets injured and then he's a starter. But outside of that, you can't play them both. But I just look at the team and go, they need Dybala's creativity and firepower, because it's a bit boring. It's just give it the ball to Messi and let's see what we can do. But outside of that, there's nothing, which is why I think Netherlands might beat them. Because I think the likes of Gakpo and the wing backs, certainly Dumfries, and I think Memphis will have a big game. This comes down to Memphis versus Messi maybe, but Memphis has a better supporting cast.
That's it. It's the supporting cast. I mean, if it was Memphis versus Messi, Messi wins. But, you know, it is the whole team, isn't it? I could see... I think it will be tight. I think it will be a 1-1, 0-0, 2-1. It'll be close. It won't be either side demolishing the other.
We'll see our teams, although we will see our teams tomorrow night. I'm going to be showing my team. But look, it's a fixture I'm swerving. At the moment, in my 15-man squad, I have one Dutch player, Dumfries, and one Argentinian player, Messi. But this is not a fixture that I can easily predict. Therefore, I'm swerving it from a fantasy point of view. Mark says Argentina have been a bit more moderate and slowly building. They have. And it is fair to say the team that wins the World Cup is usually a team...
I knew you were going to say this. It's the classic thing, isn't it?
It's never the best team of the group stages. It's never the team that really catches the eye. And like, Argentina might be about to peak at the right time.
Yeah, it's like when, we say that so much now that if a team wins like the first game 6-2 like us, it's like, oh no, we've done too well too early. It's like, but yeah, I think it's going to be, I would guess 2-1 to Argentina.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Holland. I'm going to go 2-1 Holland. I do think the Dutch will concede because they are vulnerable at the back. But yeah, from a fantasy perspective, I think it's a bit of a swerve. I don't mind backing a Dutch attacker as well as Dumfries though. Right. But okay, let's move on. Let's talk France and England. Because this game could go either direction, but I think we're going to see goals.
I was listening to the radio on the way here, and I thought first of all, okay, two things I want to say. First of all, did you hear Kyle Walker today saying, "I'll be able to handle
Speed,
Kylian Mbappe"?
please.
I was like, "Oh my word!" Even if you think that, don't say it. He's now going to
He's now said it. And
Yeah.
Mbappe's the best player in the world at the moment, right?
Yeah, you've got to say that, haven't you? I mean, it's not Messi, it's not Ronaldo. Clearly, who's the other one? Haaland's
It's him
not
or
the World
Haaland.
Cup. It's him. Yeah, he's the best player in the world. Probably.
The goals. The
Oh,
goals are
I mean,
insane. All
the
different
first
types
one,
of
to be
goal.
fair, the first one against Poland, I thought was a great finish, and the speed did the keeper. But Szczesny should be saving that. I thought.
Oh, I don't know.
Near post, arm out a bit quicker. I don't know. I'm not a keeper. Who knows? But then the second was unsavable. You can't save that.
I just love the fact he's shooting early now. Like that first goal, which went near post that beat Szczesny. It's how quickly he takes the shot. Like Mbappe doesn't usually do that. He's a take a player on. He's got a skill. He's got a trick. He's just shown that he can literally do anything with that.
And Mark Nash makes a good point that surely the best player in the world is Miggy Almiron, which is true. I'm a Newcastle fan, but he's not the World Cup. So I thought I'd keep it relevant to the podcast. But thanks, Mark. Yeah, I think you're right. Mbappe, well, okay, from a non-England fan, and you've got to keep your bias out of this because I know you like it, but mainly because of like Twitter, so that you can go, ha ha, right, that when England lose. But what do you actually think the score is going to be? Who do you think's going to go through?
I think France will edge it.
Oh, surprise. Yeah.
But my heart's not really in the fixture for either team. I dislike France, and I think it's funny when England lose. So that's where I'm at.
Right. Okay. So your heart's not in it. You've got no bias, but you like France, and you
I dislike France. I've always disliked France. France are the team my first seeing Italy lose in Euro 2000 to a golden goal, but. Firstly, before the golden goal, Wiltord scores in the 90th minute. The Italian players were on the side of the pitch in Euro 2020 in Amsterdam, holding hands on the side of the pitch, ready to run on and celebrate. They had absolutely smashed France. And then Wiltord goes and scores that goal. And then it goes to the first ever and only ever golden goal tournament. Before we even got to penalties, David Trezeguet against his Juventus teammate, bang, crossbar and in. And since then, I've hated France very, very much.
I feel like I should be a therapist or something. I just bring these rants out of people, What's the matter with France? Traumatic story. Okay, I'm going to go. Do you know what I'm going to go? I think Kyle Walker will do a good job against Mbappe for the first half. That's what I think.
And Kyle Walker and Trippier.
Yeah. You get what, back
It'll
five?
Be both, won't it? It'll be a back five.
I think we should just do a back six and put Trent, Trippier, and Walker.
Well, that's pointless because you might as well put Harry Maguire at right back because, Trent can't defend.
True. But at least Trent can attack. No, I actually quite like Maguire this tournament. But anyway, so he's played quite well. Yes, it's going to be back five probably, isn't it? It'll be Walker, the right-sided centre back. It'll be Trippier, right wing back, who's very good defensively. That's why Southgate loves him. That's why he's a brilliant signing for Newcastle. And we're not talking about Newcastle now, but I'm a Newcastle fan. And then it will be Stones, Maguire, and Shaw, won't it? So we'll see. I think I'm going to go 1-1, and it'll go to extra time and penalties.
I'm going to be with all my English mates in a pub in Cheltenham, and I am nervous for them. I'm not going to lie. And for them, I hope England take it.
I think England fans are going into this. I don't think there's many thinking we should definitely be beating them.
Oh, mate, they all think we're winning. But here's
the thing. If we lose convincingly, like 3-4-0, there'll be a lot of stick in Southgate. If it's 1-1 and we go out on penalties or 2-1 last minute goal, I think people will be like, well, it's France. They've won the World Cup. We've got Mbappe. Some people will say, oh, yeah, but they've got Pogba missing. They've got Kante missing. They've got Benzema missing. Sure, but they are a quality team. I mean, they're two central midfielders they've brought in. Incredible. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know. Rabiot's a bit rubbish. Rabiot's Juve have been keen to offload him, although he's having a good season.
I was going to say, he's had a good tournament. He scored 2?
Yeah, and he's had a good season at Juve, but he's been rubbish up to that point. But yeah, I mean, it's a great squad. And
Tchouaméni looks decent.
I mean, yeah, Real Madrid have just paid like 80 million for him. So yeah,
he's 20 years old, 21?
Yeah. Right. And Real Madrid paid like 70, 80 million euros for him.
Yeah,
right. So yeah, we like that fixture a lot. And look, from a fantasy perspective, I feel like you need Mbappe in your team. But someone in the chat I just saw mentioned Paul, and it's a dilemma I've got myself. Paul, do I swap Mbappe now for Ramos? Because let's all assume we've got Richarlison because he's such good value, and they've got a great fixture or the best fixture. Yeah. Let's all say we've got Richarlison and Messi, right?
Yeah.
Who's the third striker? I mean, or maybe it should be Richarlison, Mbappe, and you swap Messi for Ramos. But Ramos has to be considered, and we'll get to the Portugal game. And let's move there now. Let's move to the Portugal and then Morocco chat. And then we'll go to Brazil and Croatia. But Ramos, what a display. A hat-trick. A hat-trick in that game. Switzerland are no mugs. This guy is scoring like 1 and 2 at Benfica. He's Darwin Núñez's replacement. He's a kid. And he's come in instead of Ronaldo in his first start of the World Cup. All that attention on Ronaldo to then be given the starting spot and you just go and kill it like that.
I believe it's his first. It's only his second start for Portugal. He played in a friendly against Nigeria where they won 4-0, I think, and scored. And I think this is only his second game. I think, if Wikipedia is correct, that I checked earlier. Okay. It's not always the best source, I know. But he basically hasn't played for Portugal before. So it was a massive call.
6.5 million. The game didn't think he was going to start.
The price might make him like, you just go, any arguments, you just go, whatever. But something to consider is Morocco have 7 clean sheets in their last 8 games. Oh. Portugal are defensively sound historically. It's a 0-0 all over.
Do you think? I don't, because I look at that and go, sure, Morocco have been keeping clean sheets. But one thing I'd say about the Morocco squad is it's got a good first 11. I'm not sure how much depth there is. They've all just had 120 minutes, Ed. Very few recovery days because they played late, right? The team were dropping like flies in extra time against Spain. We saw all the injuries. I don't know how Roman Saiz played on. And I just wonder if this will be a game too far for them. I think
maybe
too far.
Maybe take that into account. Maybe there's arguments against this. I'm just making the point. They've kept clean sheets against Chile, a good side. Paraguay with Miggy Almiron. I mean, come on, a good side. Croatia, Belgium, Spain. Like they're not poor teams that they've kept these clean sheets against. They're not poor attacks. Yeah. So I know Portugal. You know, no one was talking about Portugal like, oh, they're going to score loads of goals until this game, right? This was one game where they thrashed Switzerland, who fell apart. It's not the norm for Portugal to do that. This is the outlier. So let's not just go, oh, because they did it last game, it's gonna, they're gonna do it again. I'm gonna guess. Here we go. 0-0 extra time.
That's fair
or
enough.
1-0 Morocco. Ziyech.
Okay. Ziyech is actually my only Moroccan player. And I'm going big on Portugal. I'm going to go quadruple. I do think Portugal keep a clean sheet, despite having Ziyech cover. Like, one thing, as good as Morocco were versus Spain, I never felt like they were gonna get big chances. They had a couple of chances, but I never felt like they were going to get loads of them.
It's the two
Portugal
teams.
Are very comfortable.
Yeah, it's the two teams with, in recent history, the sort of the classic defensive keep a clean sheet teams. Portugal, you can stretch that over 4, 5, 6 years in terms of they've always been that.
Yeah, they won the Euros off defense first.
No. Yeah, they didn't win a game in the group stage. They got draw, didn't they? And then got through.
Yeah.
So
3 points.
Yeah. So I think that's what happened. I'm pretty sure that is. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it is.
Yeah. And then Morocco are, as I said, doesn't matter what level you're playing at, to get 7 clean sheets in 8 games, and that's from the new manager coming in, whatever system he's playing, whatever he's saying to them. 0-0.
Before we speak about Brazil-Croatia, Mark, we haven't established it. No, I mean, all I can say is Hakimi was in my team and I didn't get any additional points. Obviously, I didn't get his penalty. I got 6 for Hakimi for the clean sheet. What I'd say about the game, guys, is it's not always been clear. Sometimes we've seen the round move on.
Or good.
We've seen the round move on and then go back and add on points.
Or well thought out, or any of those things.
I had an absolute nightmare. I was relying on the app a lot when I was in Qatar. And I had transfers to make ahead of the third France game when they made loads of changes versus Tunisia, and saw Giroud wasn't playing and Theo wasn't playing and a few other players I had. App was down. I couldn't transfer them out. I was so annoyed. I had the free transfers. So I dread to think how much better my rank could be if I could just have played the game the way I wanted to. Yeah. But let's look at Brazil now, because this is a team we are all going to cover. Why? Well, firstly, they're scoring loads of goals. Secondly, they've got good value options. But finally, from all the quarterfinals, I make this one the easiest to predict, right? Netherlands, Argentina could go either way. The same with France, England. Whilst I think Portugal beat Morocco, I'm not convinced of it. Brazil, Croatia, I'm so certain is a Brazil win.
I'd be less certain. I mean, I think Brazil will win, But so we all watched the Brazil-Korea game. That first half was just sensational football at many times. However, Korea for the first half, South Korea were defending.
They had a go. They had a real go.
It was like 1-0. Okay, maybe sit back. 2-0. They were just running out again, and it was just so I was like, okay. Second half, they tightened it up a bit. Brazil kind of took their foot off the gas, of course, but I just think that first half performance from South Korea, no one will say it because it's not the popular thing to say. We love South Korea. Yada, yada. It was rubbish defensively. Yeah. It was absolutely all over the place. And of course, Brazil was still incisive and took those chances. But I don't think I haven't heard many people say this, but from my point of view, maybe I'm an idiot and I'm wrong, probably. But I think I think Croatia are smart, wily. They know what they're doing in these tournaments. They're an experienced team. They are going to do what Korea wouldn't, which is kick Brazil all over the pitch. And I could see it being a tight game, probably Brazil going through a 2-1, 1-1 and penalty or something like that.
I think that over the hill, mate. I think a little bit like we said earlier about, I can't remember what team you're referring to, like all their players are past it. Same, other than Brozovic.
Wales. It was Wales.
Yeah, pretty much same with Croatia. Like Brozovic is running that midfield. Modric isn't the player he was, certainly not in that setup. You could argue the same about some of the defenders too, like Lovren. But guys in the chat, from these 8 teams remaining, which one wins the World Cup? Let us know. Give us one word and one word only in the chat. Ed, I'm going to put my team in the chat, who I think is going to win the World Cup.
All right.
I've just done that under our joint YouTube account. Guys, you can follow Ed and I on the Fantasy Football Social podcast by just clicking on the chat and clicking follow. But also, guys, if you're not following this channel and you're watching right now, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're going to get going again on our channel for when the Premier League starts again, like most. So that'll be good.
Colm says Argentina. Yeah, I don't mind. I'm surprised at that one, Colm. But maybe it's a little bit like we said earlier. Maybe they're about to peak at the right time. Yeah, Messi-Ronaldo final. Yeah, fair point. Well, Ronaldo will be on the bench anyway, Mark. Or if they get to the final, will he be benched? I think he probably will have to be if they keep playing the way they're playing without him. England or France going to win it. So Tron thinks it's going to be the winner of England-France to go on and win it. I mean...
Yeah, that's a good shout. Do you know what?
The draw's good for them.
I'd say the same. Because
I Portugal and Morocco in a semi. That's a better draw than the other side.
I just think that... I think France are probably going to beat England, if I'm honest. I'm a bit of a pessimist, but I think France will probably beat England. I think if they beat us, they'll go and win it. If we beat them, we'll then have, Portugal or Morocco. I think potentially Morocco even. And then it's like a final against who?
Yeah, Brazil. I think Brazil beat France. Brazil beat France.
We have, by the way, can we talk about England's midfield? Are we allowed to do that?
No, we need to move on to our teams now, mate.
Henderson, Bellingham, and Rice. Such balance. I love it.
Punter's got a good point. It could be a Neymar versus Mbappe final, the PSG final that all the Qataris would love, I'm sure. But I could see that. I genuinely, if I was a betting man and I was betting on who's going to be in the final, I'd say Brazil beat France in the final.
I tell you what, if Portugal come up against Argentina and Ronaldo gets benched, he's going to throw the biggest hissy fit I've ever seen in history.
He'd have to be benched because if they get to the final, they'd have been winning games and playing well.
Why was he benched? Was it obviously he hadn't played spectacularly. He hadn't played spectacularly badly.
Mate, the team's worse off for him. Juve saw it. United have seen it. Well, finally, Portugal
Juve saw it. Have you seen his goal scoring record at Juve?
Honestly, the fans wanted him out.
At United, he scored 24 goals. He was just
they wanted him out at the end.
Harry Kane last season. How dare you?
So next up, guys, we are going to be looking at our teams. Let's check out both Ed's and my game week 4 teams. Here we go.
Do we have to?
So Ed, you have had. I can't believe I said to the producer of this show, "Oh, Dean can't make it this week. It's fine. I've got a guy that's not great at FPL, but he's really good at all the other fantasy games. He plays the Champions League version, he plays the Sky games, and he really knows what he's talking when it comes to games outside of FPL. So, Ed, I guarantee we'll be doing really well in this competition." He then sends me his screen grab, and I see his team. Now, don't give me the game was down. We've all had that error. We've all not been able to make transfers. I'm sorry, you didn't even get 11 out. You didn't get 10 out. You didn't get 9 out. You got 7 players out.
Okay. point one of your discussion. I'm not very good at FPL. I'm about 11 points behind you currently in FPL.
6 players out and 1 on the bench.
Okay. Secondly, this stupid game, I made my transfers and clicked confirm before the deadline.
7.
And I went away thinking, fantastic. I've made my overhaul, yada, yada. It went back to my team from the group stages. So I didn't even get a wild card that you're meant to have. So I had this team with half the players who hadn't even qualified, like Mailer and...
Why is De Paul on your bench? No excuse for that.
Because
you got 2 points. Trippier got 0.
No, there is an excuse for that, Gianni. Do you think I'm stupid? I know how to play these games. I can't remember what happened with that exact situation, but it wasn't my fault. All right. So yeah. I mean, to be fair, I made some good picks. Dumfries did well. Hakimi got the clean sheet. Pulisic got. Why did he get 6 points? I don't know.
He got an assist.
Okay, Messi got
and
a goal
shots on target,
and I got my best captain I could have had. So
the captaincy was good. Guys, those that used the power captain this week were absolutely laughing because there were so many big scorers. We'll see the big scorers in a minute. But let's move away from your team.
Those that use a power captain, it's bad for. Because you want to choose the power captain when there's only one person who's random who gets a massive score.
But it was also good that you were guaranteed a high score. I didn't captain any of the real high scorers. I captained Messi and got 14. It would have been.
But if you use power captain, and basically a lot of people captained Messi and got that big haul, all the power captains would have ended up on the same score. So I can use it next week now and think, if someone random, hang on, didn't the power captains get Gonçalo Ramos?
If they had him in their team.
Oh, you've got to have him in the team. I forgot about that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
But
still, interesting chip.
All right. Have you used all your chips briefly?
I've used none.
Right.
Oh, okay. I used 12th man. I used 12th man in the first game week like everyone.
You better start using your chips. I'm using my wild card this week, but let's have a look at my game week 4 team, and then I'll show my wild card team tomorrow night. Keeping it to the final, Ali.
Yeah, that's a good strategy, because, I love these short tournaments because you can really think, how do I best use it? The power captain is best used when there's not in normal times, when you don't obviously know who's going to get a big point. So everyone went Mbappe. Power captain probably ends up on Mbappe for most players. So you've wasted a power captain. You would have done it anyway. You want to use it in a week when
I'd have got 15 more points if I'd used power captain this week. I went Messi and I lost out on 16 points.
You would have, but you went Messi. I mean, right. So keeping it to the final ensures that in the last week, you are going to get the top captain points of anyone who plays.
If he's in your team.
If he's in your team, yeah. So I think it's
right. Sorry, my eyes are hurting. 6 million in the bank, bench players with points, only 7 performers. Get this off screen. We need to see my team. We need to see my team, which, look, wasn't I had a bad week. I had an okay week, 82. But captaincy let me down. Like, if I'd gone power captain, I could have had Dumfries 28, Mbappe 30, Richarlison even 18 would have been better. Perisic 19 would have been better. Sorry.
Who did you have the captain on first? Did you move it?
I didn't move it. So I had Messi and I could have gone, and I did consider it. I could have gone to Mbappe or Richarlison.
Right. And you didn't.
No, I didn't. No, I was happy.
7 points.
7. I think 7 is kind of my... Earlier in the tournament, I think it was game week 1, I kept it on Messi, who got like 6.
Right.
And... Sorry, I took it off Messi, you got like 6, 7 or 8. And I got like a blank off the back of it. And I was like, a return is a return.
Right.
So I didn't want to make the same mistake.
Yeah, I need to play. I've just realised from this conversation that I need to use my wild card this week, don't I? Because I've got basically
3 weeks.
Yeah, I need to use it. And then power captain maybe in semi-finals.
The annoying thing is about wild carders this week is we've all been given, I think, 5 transfers. And it's like, so I've used my wild card. 5 transfers pretty much is all I needed. But, you know.
Well, no, I don't have that situation because I've still got the team from the group stages. So.
Yeah, you do. You need 11 transfers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's my team. I mean, I was delighted with the likes of Perisic scoring. Pulisic looked good and could have easily scored, but that front 3 is hard to move on. Now, guys, let me know in the chat who's going to be your front 3 for match day 5, because at the moment I've got this front 3.
Yeah, I wouldn't
can't
change
help
that.
but think I need Ramos in.
No.
The thing is, we don't need
one game, Gianni. One game. Portugal for years haven't scored many goals. One game he comes in against a Switzerland who completely collapsed, and this is like his second game ever for Portugal. Of course, he's going to be a quality player. Will he score one? Yes, probably, maybe. I don't know. But bringing him in, like tearing up your whole team to get him in, no. I mean, this is absolutely due for him to get like another hat trick, isn't it? But
FPL Rover says, if wildcarding, set your team up to maximize the budget hack. I am not going to lie, I don't fully know what the budget hack is, but what I would say is I've got money in the bank and there aren't enough premiums in the game I want. The annoying thing is there's not many good premiums in midfield and we have to pick 5 of them. Mbappe is a forward. That's annoying. Vinny Jr., he's a forward. That's annoying. Like, I want to be able to stack my team of these premiums.
Mbappe would always be a forward, wouldn't he? But Vinny Jr. is a midfielder, I think.
In FPL, Mbappe would be a midfielder. Just like Salah is.
Yeah, but
Mbappe and Salah are the same position.
FPL, I mean, they just seem to make random decisions about positions, don't they? Like, I think those wide forwards should be strikers now.
Well, clearly this game thinks so too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So there we go.
Oh, good side. I like it. Hang on. Can I ask some questions about
Perisic, they're both playing in a front 3. They're both playing wide forwards. And Pulisic. Those 3 midfielders are playing no deeper than Mbappe, yet they're all midfielders.
Yeah, it's stupid, isn't it? It's just like based on their reputation, isn't it, really? Where's Paqueta, Gianni?
7 million is good value, but I didn't have him in the end. I ended up going with Perisic over Paqueta. I think the team I put on Twitter had Paqueta in it.
Right.
It's annoying because he scored.
Yeah. Dumfries was obviously a big pick. Quite a lot of people had him the whole group stage and then got rid of him, didn't they?
I don't know why everyone sold him.
It was
Denzel Dumfries is a gift.
XG. He had 0.1 XG in the group stage. And a lot of people went, clearly in this Dutch system, this time he's not working. No. And then suddenly he goes mad, which we always
couldn't believe it.
I kept him as well.
I couldn't believe everyone sold him. Like, he's still got 40% ownership, so surely, loads kept him. But...
Yeah, but you love any wing backs, particularly wing backs that play in the Italian league. You go mad for.
It's true.
Hakimi, Dumfries, Goosens. Now you haven't talked about him much, but now he's been there a season. You'll probably start chatting about him. So
yeah, you're right. I do. But Denzel Dumfries, honestly, he is up there with peak for those that play the FPL game, like Pete Alonso.
I was absolutely gutted because when we bought Newcastle, bought Trippier. I love the fact we bought Trippier, but we were massively linked with Goosens or whatever his name was.
Yeah, got the move
and then he obviously went to Inter. I would have loved him. And then in the last Euros, he was incredible.
He was. And he was playing in the same Atalanta team as Marla, who we know from Denmark, right? Again, another gift. Look, they just make him different in Serie A.
But why do they always... So like Mela or Marla, however you pronounce it, right? He was 4.5 in this game again, when last time he was like the best player in the game. Like, how are they maintaining this price? Have they got to deal with it or something? What's going on?
No research. Guys, 61 of you are watching right now. Thank you. Do hit that like button. And if you're watching on demand... as I know,
on demand, are we BBC or ITV? This is amazing. We're going to be on BBC on demand.
Then make sure you're also hitting the like button and subscribing. If you like Ed round here as well, show your appreciation for Ed by following him on the Fantasy Football Social. This is Ed's
or on
channel.
Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter @_fantasyed. You will learn nothing. You will gain nothing. You won't do anything. But I'll get a new follower, which is always lovely.
Yeah, true. Fantasy Football.
Just in case you don't know why me and Gianni know each other, we both run Fantasy Football Fest, which I think you've been told about before. Is that right?
Yeah, I flog it to death on here, mate.
Good. I just wanted to check.
It's a great comment, Madeline. Maybe, although look, Benfica are going to want to keep him. They've just got 80 million for Darwin Núñez. I'm guessing they'll go, we'll sell you in 2 years. Give us another year and a half. But you're right, he's going to have a high value.
He's the sort of player who will end up. He's a perfect. If Newcastle hadn't signed Isak, sorry, I know I'm talking Newcastle again. I'm going to stop. He's the sort of player we'd go for. We don't need him now. It's just it's just the sort of player who's hungry to get to that next level, but a Man City might not want him.
Chelsea want the tried and tested, but Newcastle would go. Yeah, I agree. But all right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Best players so far, Ed. I've been resisting talking about some of the big hitters, but if we look at match day 4, check out some of these scores. It is insane. And this is why the power captain for me was so good, because it was just like you were guaranteed points. This fantasy... Oh, sorry, this is not just match day 4. This is in total, right?
This is everything, yeah.
So, okay, goalkeepers, it's a bit boring. Let's not talk goalkeepers. But
hang on, we've got to mention Noppert at Holland.
4.5.
Who made his debut for Holland at the World Cup.
He's like 28, isn't he?
He was in the Dutch, I think, 3rd or 2nd division about 3 years ago.
Yeah, he played in Serie B and was a second choice goalkeeper. He's always
Fair
been a
play to
second
him.
choice
Like,
goalkeeper.
what a story for him. So fair play. Pickford is pretty standard. We knew that England's defense would be good. A lot of people started with Pickford. Livakovic, again, it's just Croatia. They're solid, aren't they? Blind is a surprising one. That's basically because he got a goal. He's only scored, I think, 2 goals or 3 goals for Holland in loads.
Yeah, but he's had assists too. Look at the wing backs at Holland. Like, look, both are in the top 3 defenders.
Yeah, but usually for Holland, it's done free. They're like that. They're like Newcastle. We go up one wing and then cover it. For them, it's like up one wing, done free, right? Usually, Blind wouldn't be on the end.
Italy did it in the Euros. You might remember Spinazzola, player of the tournament from left back. They played in the back 4.
You went on about him, another Italian wing back. Yeah,
yeah. Roman
Newcastle do that. A lot of teams now, if they have one wing back that is strong and one that isn't, we have Dan Burn left back, Trippier. Sorry, Newcastle again. But the way it works, like, this is relevant. The way it works is Trippier will attack down this wing and Dan Burn tucks into that centre back role. So it all goes like that. And a lot of teams do this now. If they have one wing back that's strong and one wing back who isn't as strong attacking. Traditionally, I think the Dutch team have done that. They've gone like that. But the fact Blind's up there is amazing. Seiss, has he scored? He must have scored.
I don't know.
Or is it just Morocco keeping amazing clean sheets?
Yeah, and he gets points for all the extras, doesn't he? But let's look at the midfielders because Ziyech features and he has scored.
Yeah, so Ziyech has been obviously the talisman of that team. He doesn't get a game at Chelsea, which seems a crime. And once again, surely surely after a tournament like this, so much kind of spotlight on him, he wants to move somewhere.
He's been linked with AC Milan for the last couple of windows. I think he'll end up going to Serie A.
I mean, I hate it when these talented players are signed and they earn loads of money and they just don't get a game. It's so frustrating.
Match day 3, Ziyech got player of the match. You know, that player of the match gets a trophy. Yeah. Havertz got player of the match. Koulibaly got player of the match and Pulisic got player of the match. 4 Chelsea players that aren't guaranteed starts. Koulibaly and Havertz aren't even guaranteed, but Pulisic and Ziyech rotting on the bench. And they're all standing there with their trophies. And someone tweeted something like, if only one Premier League team owned all 4 of these. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, manage them well. Can I just tell you where Pulisic will end up?
Man United.
No.
Newcastle.
Yeah. He's perfect. We need that Almiron position filling. Now you go, wow, you've got Almiron, he's best player ever. If you'd watched him over the last 3 seasons, he's not. He's in a hot patch. It's not going to last. He's flipping rubbish.
He's not going to last in December. Do not buy him in your FPL team.
No,
this is going to be like a new 100%. Season.
It's gone. That was it, right?
Yeah.
He's like a headless chicken most of the time, so we need that player. And Pulisic is the one, I think. Anyway, we'll move on. Saka, fair play to him. I didn't realize he was on that many points.
But he got a couple of goals.
Isn't he a midfielder? Is he a striker in this?
No, I think he's a mid, but he hasn't had the minutes, has he?
He scored 3 goals.
Yeah, but he only started 1 game.
Yeah, but what? 3 goals? You get points for goals.
Yeah, but you also get points for minutes and all the extras that come with it.
Right, okay, yeah.
Bruno's gone assist crazy. The 6 goals for Portugal helped him. But look, top of the tree. This is why you shouldn't consider selling Mbappe.
Yeah, to be fair,
he is chasing all the records.
If before this tournament, you
striker.
said,
thanks,
when we all looked at the prices and everything, if you went, what was the optimum top 3? It was probably them, wasn't it? Messi, Mbappe, and Richarlison.
And that's the 3 I don't want to sell, even for Ramos. Like, I do think I'll go into game week 5 with those 3, right?
I think so. I think I wouldn't change that. Just on Hugo's question there, Bellingham might go to the tourney. I just want to make a comment on that because, oh wow, whoever does this behind the scenes thing is very good with you. It's just straight up. I just want to say, like, this is the issue with fantasy, isn't it? Any fantasy game, they all have this issue, and it's just a small point, which is Bellingham has been incredible, but a lot of it won't translate into points.
Yes,
and that is a constant issue that all fantasy games should try to address.
Number 8 midfielders.
Yeah. Champions League fantasy tries to with like tackles and everything and player of the match. If you get man of the match, you get extra points and stuff. But there needs to be some sort of thing that's worked out. Someone do it.
This game did, though. This game has started rewarding. And I play the fan team game and this game for the World Cup. And they both have extras for things like shots on target. Okay, that favours the attacking players. But tackles, interceptions, blocks, and key passes are all being rewarded in different ways across those 2 games.
But it doesn't address the issue because I'll tell you, here's a perfect example. Saka is in the highest player, but Bellingham's been better. He's been a better footballer this tournament.
But he's not been a better FPL pick, and you pick according to fantasy.
This is the thing. Why can't they be the same? Is what I'm saying. Maybe it's impossible.
Maybe
it's impossible.
But then the price is reflected. You don't get the same points for Bellingham or Kante, but you get the cheaper price points. Let's move on to a couple of your questions, guys. And thank you. The chat is building a little bit. Good to see FPL Rover and Paul and Mark and Hugo and Punter and Ali. Michael adding to the conversation. Rover
Lots
asked,
of new friends for me. Lots of new friends. It's wonderful.
Ed needs them. He's been unpopular over the years on Twitter.
You keep saying this. Like, I did one tweet once that everyone was like, oh, what are you talking about? And Gianni forever brands me as this like Piers Morgan on Twitter splitting the whole thing. Yeah.
I'm like your PR manager, mate. Ed, there was a time, ladies and gentlemen, where Ed used to have to send me tweets before he posted them. That's how bad it got.
Yeah. Let's be okay. My most controversial tweet I ever said, and I'm not talking about anything bad here. I'm not racism or anything like that. Just like making a point about football. I sent to Gianni. I said, "Is this too salty?" And he said, "No, it's fine." I posted it. Worst one I've ever had.
He got absolutely rinsed for it. Oh, all right. FPL Rover. Is it a case of Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar, or should we be looking more at the likes of Depay, Richarlison, Ramos, Giroud, Alvarez? I do think Messi and Mbappe tried and tested, but Neymar isn't like Vinny Jr., Rafinha, and Richarlison are all more advanced than Neymar, and he's way more expensive than all of them. So I do think I'd be looking at Richarlison, but I do think Ramos and Depay are nice left field options.
I was going to say, I think exactly what you said. Just to go on that, back on that one, you don't need to change it, but it's two premiums and one budget, isn't it? It's Messi and Mbappe, and then one of the others. I'd go for. Out of
that list, who'd you go for? Depay,
Richarlison, interesting, isn't
Ramos.
it? Like, I potentially Alvarez, because he's cemented that top spot now.
Oh yeah, but Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina could. The thing with Argentina is that they're a volcano. You don't know when they're going to go off. You don't know when they're going to go off, but they might. And
do you know what it is? They're like a dormant volcano, though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
but dormant volcanoes never go off.
No, but they do at some point, and then everyone dies, and everyone went, "Why didn't we think of the dormant volcano going off?" Right? Have you heard of Pompeii? So I wouldn't go Depay. I wouldn't go
Napoli.
him. Yeah, exactly. Well done. Well done. I'm proud of you.
I've had a tour of Pompeii.
Oh, so have I.
I have been to Italy once.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. I've been to Pompeii. It was good. I wouldn't go Depay. Richarlison is...
You would go Pompeii, but not Depay.
Yeah. I love Depay. Have you been to Pompeii? What about Giroud and Alvarez? Goncalo Ramos, I think everyone's just going a bit mad over when, of course, he's a good player. He's going to be a good player, but let's just calm down. It's Portugal. They might not score next game. So I'd go Alvarez or Richarlison. Or Giroud. I love Giroud. I love Giroud.
It's a great list.
Or
I don't think you can go too wrong.
Or Ramos.
Good question, though. Would you keep English players or sell them this game week? Very simple answer for me. You'll see my wild card tomorrow night, mate, and I'm back with Dean tomorrow night.
Yeah, but hang on, you've got a wild card. So
but you got 5 transfers anyway, mate. I'd be selling English players because the defenders are going to concede, and the attacking players, knowing they could move to 5 at the back, it's going to mean one of those attacking players has to drop out. But so with that in mind, I don't think they're going to score many goals.
We don't know they're going 5 at the back, by the way.
We don't. So, but even if they don't, if they go with the back 4, if they go 4-3, that's still part of the bus.
There is only one reason everyone's saying, "Oh, they're going to go 5 at the back."
Mbappe.
Okay. Yeah, and 2 reasons. Mbappe, and we did that at the last tournament. So everyone's going, "Oh, let's think about this." He's just going to go back to the system we know, and they've trained. They don't need to train because they know it. And Mbappe, so we'll have 2. It's not as simple as that.
It's not as simple as that. The midfield could go
play a
run
4-3-3 or whatever we're doing, and just tell flipping the right. I don't know, who would you put? Probably
Walker.
No, I'm not talking about right back. I'm talking about
right centre back Stones. Yeah,
right centre back Stones, and then even the right winger, right forward. You could just track him.
Well, that's it. You play Saka there, who can defend.
Yeah,
Saka
exactly. So you play
back.
Saka, and you say, "Look, this is not a normal game. You're tracking." And then at halftime, if you're knackered, we'll replace you with someone else who'll track.
And you go with the midfield 3 of Hendo, Rice, and Bellingham. And Bellingham can play any of those midfield roles. So Bellingham will just be a bit deeper than normal. I think 4-3-3 would be a wise decision.
Exactly. Hendo will definitely play because he's the sort of guy who will just kung fu kick Mbappe, talk to everyone. He'll get sent off for the team. He doesn't care. And he's the sort of guy who... Fair play. Do you know what? Do you know what I thought about Henderson the other day? I thought, fair play, top game. This is probably his last chance with England. He's not going to be in the next tournament. Then I looked at his age. He's only 32.
Yeah,
In
it's
my
funny.
head, he's 36.
It's all the injuries, though, isn't it? And he's been
He's
around
so
for ages.
slow now. He plays like a 36-year-old.
He does. But when I watched him in that England versus Wales game, I was quite close to the pitch. You could hear him. He is the most vocal player. And I remember do you remember when the Premier League went into Project Restart and there was no fans in stadiums, but they did the commentary without the noise at first, without the canned noise, the fake noise. Every game I watched with Liverpool, I was like, you can hear Henderson screaming.
It's like me for Team North, really.
Would you keep English players to sell them? So yeah, I would still say sell though, punter. But what a game we've got coming up, guys. We've reached our limit. It's go on. We've got 30 seconds left.
Okay, I was just going to say, Ed is amazing. Love the sense of humor. Love that. I was just going to say about England. Would I sell? If you've got triple defense, sell. But to still have Pickford or a defender, I think is all right. I think there's a chance. This is very, very, very tight because both teams come at it like. I don't know how to read the other team. It's going to be tight, cagey, yada yada yada.
It's the standout semi-final, standout quarter-final for me.
Yeah.
Although Netherlands Argentina is pretty tasty as well.
Yes, in fact,
I'm excited about both of them on Friday.
Both aren't they? Like
one's Friday, one's Saturday.
Well? Aren't Netherlands and Argentina like massive rivals for some historic reason?
There was a Bergkamp. I remember that Bergkamp goal from France '98. I think it was. That was against Argentina.
That was. I can't. I think this. I don't know.
Where he brought it down. The like. Long
yeah.
pass.
I know that goal. And then he did exactly the same for Arsenal against Leicester, pretty much about 3 months later, which wasn't quite as good, but was a very good goal in the Premier League.
There we go. Okay, good stuff. Guys, it's been awesome chatting. We'll be back again tomorrow night. We might be 6 p.m. tomorrow night, so we might be an hour earlier. So yeah. Guys, make sure you're subscribing and have those notifications set because we aren't obviously doing all of our Monday and Friday 7 p.m. streams as we usually do for the Premier League. So we're coming on a little bit more ad hoc. We got loads planned for next week. But as I say, tomorrow night we are back. Make sure you're liking Ed on Twitter. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to the channel. And of course, follow Ed on his Fantasy Football Social channel. If just whack it into YouTube, Fantasy Football Social. But for now, goodbye, Ed. Have you enjoyed yourself?
I have actually. I really have. I'm a bit emotional. Someone said I had nice hair. Someone said he liked my sense of humor. Love it.
You're not used to all these compliments. But for now, team, he's been Ed. I've been Gianni. We'll be back tomorrow night. But we have been chasing World Cup green arrows.